Hi guys, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the U.S. Well, I can't believe it, but it's time for my 12 weeks of fall and Halloween for 2024. This year has flown by, and this is week number 1, and I'm going to be doing all the Halloween projects near the beginning of the 12 weeks. That way, you'll have plenty of time to make any these Halloween projects you want before Halloween. Now, this one features the Potions and Spells bundle. I love this bundle, and it is part of Stampin' Up's online exclusives. There is a link down below to the online exclusives in my online store. There's also another link just to the online store to go to the homepage, and you can click on that also. Now, when I made this, I actually made it at a crafting retreat. We called a crop around here. But this was the first thing I made during that crop, because when you go there, you just make all your projects, any projects you want. So I was playing around with this, and I had a few ladies come look at it, and they're like, you know what, that reminds me of Harry Potter. I didn't even think about that, but it does. It's got the broom, it's got the bird, it's got books for the school. So it's not officially Harry Potter, but it does have that Harry Potter look. So if you want to make this along with me, pause the video, look down the video description and click on that blog post link. And when you click on that, you'll find the supply list, and you'll also find the paper dimensions, so you know what size cardstock that you're going to need. And then you can come back and make this with me. Okay, let's get started. Okay, here's the bundle I'm featuring. Like I said, this is part of Stampin' Up's online exclusives. If you purchase just the stamp set, it's $20. If you get just the Potions and Spells die set, that's $32. But if you buy them together under that bundle number, you'll save 10%, and it'll only be $46.75 to get both. And that's saving 10% rather than purchasing these separately. Okay, now what we're going to need when we start making this, you're going to want the books, the stack of books stamp, and you're also going to want the bird, crow, raven, whatever you want to call that. We've also got the pot die. You want to grab that one. And we need the die that die cuts the bird. And we also need the die cut that does the little drips. I guess this can be the potion drips that are falling down. We also need this one. This one is the one that die cuts the books. And for that broom that's on there, we need this one that does the stick and this one that does the broom part. And then last but not least, we're going to need this for the handles on the pot. Okay, first off, we're going to get the stamping done. This is a piece of basic white. It's 4 1/4 by 1 3/4. I'm going to grab my bird and the books, and I'm going to use the Tuxedo Black Memento. Go ahead and ink up the bird real quick. I'm going to twist a little bit. When I twist, I inks it up a lot better, and then I tap it a little bit to take away any swoosh marks I might have put on it. Hold that down for a few seconds. There we go. And last but not least, we've got the books. Did the same thing with that one, and it's going to be stamped right here. Oops, go flying away. There we go. Now, the reason I'm using the Stampin' Pierce mat is because these are photopolymer stamps, and you need that cushioning underneath to get the right support for it to stamp correctly. So that is all the stamping we need to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side. Now I want to do some coloring here. I decided to use Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to start off with the bird. This one I used just Smoky Slate, well actually, and the dark Daffodil Delight, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. I always start with a dark color when I use my Stampin' Blends. So everywhere I think there should be a dark color, which are where a lot of these lines are. I'm not going to do every single one, but I'm going to do a lot of them. So this is all with a dark Smoky Slate. Do a few here, so I have little contrast to the colors. Here on the bird, just a couple little places. I'm going over it again to make sure it's good and dark, because I want to soak through the cardstock. And I'm using a very light touch. You don't have to scrub, and you actually want to use it like a paintbrush when you use the brush tip. Some people like to use the blunt side. That is fine. You can definitely do that. I like using the brush tip. I think it also makes it so I don't have to color quite as long. Sometimes with that blunt tip, you definitely have to color a little bit longer than you normally would. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully. I'm using that light touch. That makes that point very, very thin, so you can get around this little thin area around the eyes. When you push too hard, that makes it kind of smoosh out, or squish out. That's the word I'm looking for. And you don't get that nice fine tip. So that's why I'm doing nice and slow, coloring over mainly the dark areas now to blend those two shades in. And maybe a little bit more on his face. Okay, now I want to use more like crushed curry, But since we don't have crushed curry, I'm going to go with a dark Daffodil Delight. This is real close to it. And I'm just going to color in his beak. Like so. And then I'm going to do his little bird claws. I'm going out of line just a little bit. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to be die cut. There we go. That looks pretty good. Plus, I'm standing up. Sometimes when I stand up, I don't color quite as well. I'm going to bring in a light smoky slate again because I can tell I missed. I don't mind having a little white area, but that was a little more than I wanted. There we go. So now I'm going to start coloring in the books. I'll go ahead and bring the 2 yellows out again. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the dark and do these little lines right here with the dark Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to take the light and color in the rest of it. So I'm not really blending this time. I really want those lines to be a little darker, just so it's not a plain looking book. Then I'm going to grab Granny Apple Green. I'm going to start with the dark. Make sure that's what I picked up. It is. Once again, on this one, I'm going to put it where these little lines are. That's going to be my dark Granny Apple Green. Then I'm going to take the light and color in the rest of the book. Once again, I'm not blending because I kind of like having those 2 shades. And then if I want to go back and add a little more dark, and I think I do, that dark is not showing up quite as much as I want it to. Because sometimes after it soaks into the cardstock, it does lighten up a little bit. But if you add some more, that'll darken it up. No problem. Okay, now I'm only going to use the dark of these next 2 colors. I'm going to use Blueberry Bushel. And you can see we're seeing the pages inside the book, and just the edges are the actual book. You can definitely just leave those all white. But I thought it looked a little plain, so I'm going to use a very, very light touch. And hopefully standing up, I will be able to keep. So I'm taking nice little short strokes, and I think that makes it a little easier to stay within the lines. And then do the top of this one. I'm using a super, super, super light touch. Okay, now I might go over it just a little bit again to make it a little bit darker. So I was using such a light touch. I want it to show up just a little bit more. There we go. That looks good. Now I'm going to bring in the real red, and I'm only going to use the dark on this one too. This one is even thinner, so this one I'm really going to use a light touch. And I'm probably only going to go over it once because with it this thin, I can just see me going outside the lines if I try to do it again. And the red really does show up. Even if I'm getting a little bit on the pages, nobody's going to be able to tell. That's just going to make it look like the book's a little thicker, the book binding. So no worries, you can just kind of even that out. Nobody's going to be able to tell the difference. So there we go. That is all the coloring we need to do. That went real quick. Now we need to get the die cutting machine out. Okay, to get this ready, our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine ready for die cutting, you need the base platform number 1, the die plate number 2, and a standard cutting plate number 3. I'm going to grab this piece of basic black. This one is a 3 by 1 3/4. And I need this long one. This one is a 5.5 by 3 1/4. Okay. And let's see. I think I can do this too. We're going to grab the Granny Apple Green. This is a 2.5 by 2.5. Let me see if I can get that to fit. I always try to see how much I can fit on one so I can just run it through one time. And I think I'm going to be able to do it. This is a piece of crushed curry, 2 by 1 1/4. You know, I think I'll put that one there. And nope, you know what? Nope, it's going to go here. And this one is for the broom handle. This is a 3 by 1/2 inch, so I can kind of angle that like so. Let's see how this works here. Actually, I'm going to have to run this through it twice, so I really don't need to have all of that. I'm still going to go ahead and do it just out of curiosity, see if it's going to work. Now, with this one being extra thin, I am going to use some tape. A lot of times I don't. I think just put one in the center, that'll probably hold it good enough. When I die cut images, I make sure I use a couple pieces of tape a lot of times, just because I don't want it to move on me. This one, I'm going to need 2 of the drips of the potion. So that one's going to go through twice also. And this is going to go through twice also. So I am glad I went ahead and doubled up. These are the handles, but we're going to need 2 sets. And then we've got, last but not least, the pot. Then you put another standard cutting plate on top. I'm putting it down nice and easy. I'm going to hold this end down just so it kind of holds those dies in place. Just as long as it stays on the cardstock, you're good. Let's pull this out. Oops. Need this piece back. I really like those. I think that is so cool looking. Then we've got the neat broom bristles. I love the detail in that. Here's one of our pots. And this one did 2 handles. And I'm actually going to need 4, and you'll understand that why here in a minute. And then last but not least, we've got the broom handle. Now I'm done with the brooms. We can go ahead and get these pieces out of the way. And I'm still going to need to do another handle. Another thing of the drips. And I'm going to bring in that big black piece again. And this is for the other side with the pot. Put this on top and we'll run it through again. And now we have the drips again. The reason I'm doing 2 is because I'm decorating the back of this also. We've got the other pot. And then we've got our 2 handles. And that's all the die cutting for the actual box. We do need to die cut those images we stamped a minute ago. So now I'm going to grab the bird. Make sure the image completely fills in that opened area of the die. And because I don't want it to move at all, I'm going to put another one down here. Here are the books. That's upside down, so let's turn it around. You have a 50-50 chance. Doesn't take long to figure it out. Once again, get that image to fill in that opening. And this tape, by the way, is Post-it tape. You can also use Post-it notes and just use the adhesive part. Or I've also heard, I have not tried this, the low-tack painter's tape, which is the yellow one. It holds, all those hold the tape down, the dies down, but it doesn't tear up the cardstock when you go to take the tape off. I've used the blue painter's tape. That works sometimes, but a lot of times ends up tearing up the cardstock. So that's why I don't use that. So if you do have the yellow one, I have heard that works, but I've just been using Post-it notes and Post-it tape. So there's the bird. And then here are the cute books. Okay, that is all the die cutting we need to do. Let's start making this little treat box. Okay, now if you've got your cardstock together, you get that last piece of basic black. This is a 5x4 inch piece. And with a 4-inch side along the top, you're going to score it at 1 inch and 3 inches. Oops. There we go. And when you're doing cardstock, when you look at the, what is this called? The scoring tool, there's a larger tip and a smaller one. With cardstock, you want to use a smaller one. This one works better with the designer series paper because it's thinner and it won't tear it up. Okay, now we're going to rotate it so the 5-inch side is along the top. And now I want to do it one at 2 inches and at 3 inches. Okay, now if you look, hopefully you can see these score lines. These little boxes right here are actually tabs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut along the score line and stop at that very first horizontal line, okay? So now I've got this. There's my first tab. But I do want this to be a little bit narrower because if you keep it square like this, it'll show a little bit once you start to put it together. So I'm going to go in maybe 1/8 of an inch down here, then angle it so it ends right where those 2 score lines meet, okay? I need to go a little bit higher. There we go. So you've got like a little bitty right triangle that you just cut off. So I'm going to do that on the other side and end right up there. So that's what you want both tabs to look like. So now we'll rotate this and do this tab the same way. Cut along the score line. Go in 1/8 of an inch and cut up to where the score lines meet. We'll do this one here. Sometimes I may not get right up there, so I just end up pull it off real quick because it's going to be real thin anyway. Okay, now when you make boxes, you want to burnish them. That means you want to fold all those score lines so it's all ready to go when you go to put your box together. So I'm going to turn this over because when you score, the inside of the fold is actually the mountain part. I call this the mountain, or I guess you call it hill because it's not very tall. But the valley part is the outside and that's the inside. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to fold. I'm taking my bone folder, getting a nice fold in there. That way it's a lot easier to work with. Do the same on this side, like so. And then we have the score lines are going the other direction, so open these back up again. Do this one. And then we're going to do this one. Okay. And that is ready to go. We can go ahead and put this together. So once you get tear and tape, here it is. And the only place right now that we want to put it is right here on these tabs. So you're going to turn this over so the outside of the folds are on top. I'm going to find the beginning of this. I always have a hard time finding the beginning. There we go. I'm just going to put one kind of diagonal. This is a small tab, so I really don't need to do two pieces. Sometimes I'll do two if it's a bigger box, but this is a smaller one. But that way, if I do it diagonal, it's going to just, if I do it right down the middle, you might have some kind of come off. So if you do it like this, you've got some adhesive going all the way across, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Tear that. And then we're going to turn this over. And one side of these, I want to have adhesive. So I'm going to put it on the outer side. Along here, you don't need to put one on the inside. If it was, like, once again, if it was a big box, I probably would put one along here along the score line. But that's really not needed with this one. So these go on the inside side, and that's actually on the outside. Okay, first off, I'm going to start working with tabs. So I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm going to take the paper backing off of this one. Now, when I turn this over, these we're not going to mess with just now. This is the one I want to do. I'm just folding this down so you can see what I'm doing. This is going to be the bottom of the box, this edge here. You want it to be lined up with that score line like this. And if you want to make sure, you can also hold it up like this and tap it. That way you know it's straight. You can kind of feel it hit your workspace. But I'm kind of holding it up so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to take the paper backing off, like so. Take the side without the adhesive. I'm going to take this straight edge, line it up with that score line, and then push it together. Make sure you don't have the tab and this side touching until you've got it lined up, because once it sticks, the tear and tape is really strong and you won't be able to fix it without tearing it. So now I'm going to take the paper backing off of this one. And this time, this short edge, I want to make sure it's right along the bottom. And then I'm going to look at this and make sure it looks straight. And before I get them all together, I want to make sure this looks straight up here. That's not bad. It's off a little bit, but not too bad. I'm not going to worry about it. Open this one up. Get that paper backing off again. Once again, kind of look at these top edges. Actually, looking at the two edges is probably your best bet. There we go. So that is ready to go. A lot of times I will put the pots on these, but I actually figured out it's actually easier to make the base of the box first. So that's why we did that first. But we're going to start decorating these pots before we put them on. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the back of this real quick. This one is super easy to do. All we need to do is grab one of the drips that we made. And I kind of liked these being popped up. I'm going to use my black dimensionals. And when you have black dimensionals, you get the minis and the regular size. This one's almost gone. Didn't realize that. I think I've got enough though. So I'm going to take these mini ones because this is not very big. I'm going to put it on that drip and this one here. Actually, let's do it right about there. And one here. And then I'm going to put one on each end. Let's see, make sure it's not. I'm going to lightly put it on here because I don't want it showing from the other side. That one is showing a little bit, so I'm going to pop it off. Since I just laid it down, I didn't push it down. I think this one, it might be better if I just put it on this drip here. That's a little bit thicker. That works good. And what I can do too, there is a little bit showing. I'll just clip that off, but I think it's going to be okay. I don't think anybody's going to see it. And I'm going to put one up in this corner. This corner is definitely fatter, so I shouldn't have a problem with this one. Okay. And I know this one's down here, but I think we need to support the top just a little bit. So we'll do it right there. Okay. That should be good enough. I know there's nothing here, but this one will hold it down. I just don't want those to show. You could also clip off one of these and make them half of one, or you can even cut these mini ones in half, and that would probably fit just fine up there. We do that with the big ones. We can do it with the small ones too. Okay, I've got all the paper backings off. Now, I want this to go right along the edge. I'm going to turn this over just so I can see the edge better for me. And this is not as long as the pot, which makes sense. I'm kind of angling it, getting those, the top edge of this and the top edge of the pot to line up. And then I'm going to slowly bring it down. I want to make sure it's centered. I'm going to move my hands here in just a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. Lightly put it down. And you can see how there's black on each side. That's what you want. Because when you think about it, the pot is kind of thick, so it's not going to have any going around the very edge anyway. We want to think of this as a round pot. Now, I barely laid it down. So now I can lift it up again. Get a little straighter. I'm okay if a little bit of the black is showing because I can tell to me, that just kind of looks like a shadow. So I've got that one ready. That is the back. That's all we're going to do with the back. So I'm going to put that to the side. Let's grab this one. This is one we're going to decorate the most. Once again, we're going to want to put the drips on. Now, when you look at this, you can tell, after you die cut it, you'll know what I mean. One side's a little smoother, the edges are a little bit rougher, so that's the back. So we're going to grab the mini dimensionals again. We'll put them on those big drips first. And that one's a little bit bigger, so put one there. One here. And one top here. Oh yeah, forgot that one. Since this strip is a little bit bigger than the top, we'll do that. There we go. Now I'll take all the paper backings off, and I'm just scooping these up. So I'm kind of putting the paper piercer part of the tool in there at a slant, at an angle, and that helps you be able to scoop them up a lot easier. Okay, now this is going to be done the same way. And the one thing, once you get both your drips on, what I suggest, look at the one that looks like it's on the best. And I have a feeling this one's going to look better than my other one. For some reason, I keep getting that right side cockeyed. There, that looks pretty good. I'll put both of these here. Yeah, I've got that one lined up a little bit better, so I'm going to have this one be my front. Now, I'm going to grab my bird. And actually, y'all know we can do this. We'll do the handles last. That way it doesn't really matter. We could do the handles right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do these pieces first. Then get your books. There we go. Now what I decided to do, I'm going to put a glue dot. So I'm turning this over. Grab my glue dots. I can get a hold of them. Got them hiding down here. And I'm going to put one at the back. There we go, just the top of this, right at the back. Then I'm going to take the broomstick, and it's just going to go right inside there. Bring it down a little lower than it has to be. That way I know it's going to stay on really good. Okay, so that is ready. And I think I'm going to put the books down first. So I'm going to take some seal. You could also use the glue, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my seal here on this flat area here. Put some, get this going again. Okay, I'm not going all the way to the edge because I know some of the book is going to be hanging over the edge, especially the left, actually just the left part. Now, on this one, I don't want it to go past the high point of this, okay? That way, no, actually, I just don't want it to go past, that's right. I don't want it to go past the foot. It's okay if it covers it up, but try to get that straight. I'm going to have the foot show just a little bit. Okay. That way, you know, this is not going to go below where the box is going to be because we don't want it to wobble. So I've got that on. I'm going to turn my bird around. I'm going to put dimensionals on him. I'm going to go ahead and use the regular size ones here. Put one at his head. let's see, one near the top of his feet. And you know what? I bet that's enough. If you're worried about his tail, you could put a mini here. I'll go ahead and do that just so I can show you how you can do that if you want to make sure it's supported a little better. Now I'm going to get my take your pick tool again. Get some adhesive on here. If I can get a hold of that one. There we go. And put the bird on top of the books. And it's okay if he goes above the pot. Let's see, I think I have him angled a little bit more like that. There we go. So now he's on. I wanted this one popped up too. This is way too thin for a dimensional. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab a big one. I'm going to put it near the top. I'm going to put it over the the broomstick a little bit. That way, that is holding it on a little better. So it's being held on by the glue dot and by the dimensionals. And yeah, I don't think I need one there. That's going to be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and take, also, first, before I put this on, I'm going to angle it like so. And I can tell I'm going to have it go right along the edge, top right here of the green potion coming out. I'm just going to take one little glue thing of glue. I might need to take the dry glue off of there first. Put a little bitty drop right here. Okay. I don't know if you can see that, just a little bitty drop. I'm going to take the backings off of this. I'm going to kind of angle this down here the way I want it, making sure, once again, I don't go past the foot of the kettle. And then I'm going to put the broomstick right along that glue. That's just going to support it a little better. At first, I did not do that, and it kept moving around on me. So then I put a little thing of glue there, and that helps support it a lot better. Okay? As you can tell, I've got that right up against the foot of the kettle. All right, so that is all decorated. I'm going to bring in the box. And with this, we only want adhesive here along the top, okay? And you know what? Since it's already right here, I'm going to use my glue. I could definitely use seal if I wanted to. But this is going to make it to where I can kind of slide the pot just a little bit if I need to, okay? And this is going to hold it on really, really good. I'm going to go ahead and put the back on. But I don't want to see this box at all. I take that back. You will see a little bit of the box. You want the kettle, and make sure I'm thinking correctly. Yes. So the two feet of the kettle, I don't know why I can't think that. I want those to be right along that score line. It looks like I got a little glue in the wrong spot. We will do this again. That way you won't do that like me, but I just swiped it out. There's barely any showing. It's not even sticky. So we're good. Then you just take your fingers inside and kind of push it together. There's the back. So this time I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom, because a little bit of that box is going to show at the bottom. It's not going to show at the top, just a little bit on the bottom. The only reason I'm doing that, I didn't think these feet could support the box very well, and I don't want those folding on me later. So I'm going to put this one right here. You can't see the feet very well from where I'm looking. And then I'm kind of looking at the bottom kettle and making sure these line up pretty good. And that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to hold it up, make sure it's standing up, and it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and push all this down. Okay. And now let's grab those handles. So, sticking to my glue. Now I thought these were easier to put on with glue dots. I'm going to bring all these in. Now we want, they're both shaped a little different. So I had to play around with this when I made it before. We want to find the two that line up together. They're exactly the same. So those two are the same, and these two are the same. Okay. Now when we go to put these on, we're going to be doing them a little backwards. Actually, is that lining up? Yes, it is. Okay. So on this one, because I want these to look the same on the top and the bottom. So I've got them like this, okay? And this one, we'll go ahead and put these on this side. So these are the two that look the same. Now what we're going to be doing, this one is going to go underneath this one. So I'm going to take my glue dots. These are where I want the glue dots, right here. So bring this in. Put them on. There's one here. And do put your fingernail or something underneath that glue dot so you don't rip your handle by accident. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over. The glue dots are on top. And I'm going to put this one on like so we don't see the glue dots. Okay. Now, if you put this one on the same way, it's not going to line up very well. So you're going to actually turn this one over. Now they're lining up again. Okay. But it's going to be going on back here. So you can do the opposite side. This is the front, which is where we put the glue dots. On the other one, we're going to turn it over, and the glue dots are going to go on the back this time. So there's my front. So these are exactly the same, but we're going to turn it over because we want the reverse or the mirror image of it. Then I'm going to take the glue dot. So this is still the back. Put a glue dot on the back here. Oop, and I see a glue dot that I skipped up here. Put this one on here. And then I'm going to turn this over. I'm kind of laying it down on the handle and bringing it up. If it's not exact, that is okay. Kind of angle this so I can see what I'm doing. That looks pretty good, not too bad. So there, they line up a little better that way. Now with this one, I wanted to explain it that way. Now this one, I'm just going to turn this over. Okay. So this one, here, let's do it this way. Okay, so this one is turned over. And this one has got it's got the back facing up. That's got the front facing up. So I didn't turn it back over. This is still with the back sides facing up. If I can find where my glue dots are, I should have ripped the paper off. Oh, there we go. I just felt one. Okay, so this is going to go here. And this one's going to go here. So this one is still with the back facing up. This is the one with the front facing up, so I'm going to keep it the same way. And put that there. Okay, now the one, there are the glue dots. So I'm going to put them on here. The handles look a little different, but the ones I want to definitely match up are these. So this is just an old witch's kettle, so it doesn't matter if they're not angled just right. Turn this over. There's the side with the glue dots. I'm going to lightly put it on. That looks close to the one at the bottom. There we go. So now we've got our pot. Now normally if you're making a flat pot, you would just cut this. Let me find that die again. Once. And then these will be the mirror image of each other and it'll work out perfect. But since we needed it on both of them, because it looks a little funny not putting them on both, that's why they're going to look a little bit different. Actually, I could have angled those a little better. Let me bring in my original. I kind of played around with it better and was able to get them to angle up. So next time, if you make this again, make sure you angle those up. But I'm still okay with it looking like that. And then, as you noticed, you can put 2 Reese cups. These are the snack size, and they fit in perfectly. And I kind of like the orange on there. It kind of gives some more color to the pot. So I hope you enjoyed the first project, my week number 1 of my 12 weeks of fall and Halloween for 2024. If you'd like to join me again and you haven't subscribed, make sure you click on that subscribe button below. And then when the little bell icon pops up, select all. That way YouTube will notify you every time I do a video so you won't miss anything. And I also have my weekly Thursday lives. Those are card class at homes. And those happen every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'd love to see you there. When you comment, I know you're there. Now, if you live in the United States and do not have a demonstrator of your own, I would love to be yours. Just click that contact me link below in the video description and send me your mailing address, and I will send you the annual catalog and the September-December mini catalog. This one starts September 4th and goes through, let me look back here because I can't remember the last date, January 6th. Okay, so just click on that contact me link below and give me your mailing address, and I'll send out your first set of catalogs for free. Okay, well, we're all done for week number 1, and I'll be back again with week number 2. And hope you have a great day. See you later, guys. Bye.